We know that you have been very optimistic about the trajectory of the pandemic. You said Omicron will herald the beginning of the end. But now we're seeing surges in China, even in New York. You still believe?
It's completely different. I do not anticipate any surge in the Philippines in the near future. The experiences of the countries that you have seen. So for example, in South Korea, where they are now coming down from a substantial surge, the difference, and in your previous guest attributed the lack of a surge and lack of community transmission to mass compliance in the Philippines. But South Korea probably has just as good, if not better, mass compliance than the Philippines. And they were seeing numbers of 100,000 per day. And so the primary difference, if you have to look at the differences, the first is that it was the BA.2 Omicron variant that was surging, and we already finished that. So that was the first thing. And second, South Korea was so good at preventing the previous variants from entering that in many ways they did not have substantial natural immunity. So in the Philippines, we have both vaccinated immunity and we have natural immunity from the two previous surges. So a year ago, we had the alpha beta surge, and then we had, unfortunately, the tragic Delta surge in August. But the combination of those two builds up substantial natural immunity amongst the people. So you have hybrid immunity that's so strong, which is what you can see. Like, we have hundreds of thousands of our kababayans who are singing in rallies, and they're jumping around without masks or with masks. But the masks, all these events, and there are these are substantial super spreader potentiality. There's nothing.
Yeah, but Father, just to explore another side to that. So you're saying that in South Korea, that was a legit surge. And our numbers right now is legitimately low as well. It is not a function, because I have seen that theory as well. It's not a function of more and better testing in South Korea and inefficient testing here in the Philippines.
So, their high numbers, 100,000 per day. We probably had something like that in January, but we did not have the testing to see those high numbers. But right now, you can tell that our low numbers are really low because the hospitalizations are also really low. And if the hospitalizations, if the testing was not able to see a surge, hospitals would see it because people would go to the hospital. And so the hospitalizations are also really low, so all the data suggests that the pandemic is really cool right now in the Philippines at all levels. It's not just a matter of we're not testing enough. The hospitals are so free, which we would not expect if.
Now, Father, now we do want to be careful about this, and I guess that's how I would frame this question. How do you spread that message, that insight, while at the same time still encouraging people to get their vaccination, get their boosters? Because frankly, what is also keeping people from getting their boosters is also now a lot of complacency and overconfidence.
Well, what the message has to be, and I say this all the time, is that we have substantial hybrid immunity, but that immunity is waning. And it's waning such that if we are not boosting, if we are not vaccinating, a time will come in the next few months where if a new variant emerges, we'll be vulnerable again, right? So right now we are relatively safe. We have high vaccine walls, but these walls are slowly dropping. And so we have to not think about what's happening now. We have to think about what's going to happen in the next few months, 6 months from now, what's going to happen. And so we have to always prepare. So it's not, we cannot be complacent because we can look around and we can say, things are very good right now. We have wonderful hybrid immunity, but that hybrid immunity, what we've discovered, is not permanent. And so we have to prepare for the future. And this is the time for us to be vaccinated. This is the time to be boosted because the risk of actually getting it is low. But in a few months, when that hybrid immunity begins to wane, we will be more vulnerable.